Olympic High School. It is credited as the pioneer host school of the Great Debaters Contest. It is situated at the heart of Kibra and it is the lead school in matters education within. Precious Blood Secondary School Riruta. Commitment to providing holistic education to all students. Discover students' individual talents and nurture it to its fullest. Spur students to perform better than their best. Expose students to broad spectrum of leadership opportunities. Engage in participating teaching and learning processes.
So Mariam's in the building. This wonderful, amazing and intelligent woman is right here to expound and blow her mind on the stage as she, what do you do?
Blow my mind on the stage?
Yeah, you can blow it up, like put all the knowledge and then hook it up and then light a match and boom. You know what I mean? Tell them what you want.
I don't know what I want. What do I want?
Yeah, what you gonna do? Who you are? Why are you so light-skinned and beautiful?
I don't have many answers. I don't have answers to most of those questions, but I'm just hoping to have a good time. I hope the teams are all psyched, like these ladies over here, and that we have like fantastic debates.
GDC Season 7 is all about the teams, We're not really going about the speakers, just, we used to be like the stars of the show, but now the real stars are the teams.
Yes.
You are?
Okay.
Dandora Girls Secondary School.
And you're in?
GDC Season 7.
And what?
Watch out!
Welcome to Season 7 of the Great Debaters Contest. I'm your host, Austin Nyumbok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Welcome to the show and to this wonderful new season. Our first topic of debate is a sensitive issue that has been the topic on all media in the international realm. We're talking about whether unverified immigrants are the biggest threats to national security. And tackling this motion are Olympic High School and the Precious Blood Girls High School. We'll have the debaters take the floor now. Proposer number 1, you have 1 minute.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, when I talk of immigrants, what do I really mean? Immigrants are the people who move from their original country and they go to the foreign countries to live there permanently. That is what I mean when I talk of an immigrant. Ladies and gentlemen, if this person goes to that foreign country and he does not have the common support documents that shows he's a citizen of that country, then we can term him as unverified. So what the motion really says that this person is already in a foreign country. He doesn't have the document that supports he's a citizen of that country. So the motion said that this person is a threat to our security. Well, Bahati Anthony will propose this motion. And my first reason being economic security. Ladies and gentlemen, when these people come into our country, they take away the jobs that are meant for us as citizens of that particular country. Let me give you a walk. Let me take you to a place in Eastleigh. We find that in Eastleigh, the people that live in that area are of Somalian origin. Well, and they own business in that territory. Are they natives of Kenya? No. Do they have the common documents that show that they are Kenyans? That's questionable. Most own documents that show that they belong to Kenya. But they still have jobs in those territories. They still run casual jobs in those territories. Well, let me give you a research that was conducted, by a Business Daily on March 2016. Shows that 17.3% of our Kenyans lack jobs. 7 million Kenyans lacking jobs. 17% of our Kenyans, 17.3 to be specific, of our Kenyans lack jobs. Then that, and in Eastleigh, we find that there are these people from Somalia that do not have documents, and yet they are still running jobs in our country. Is that not causing security to our people? Is that not causing unemployment to our people? Well, let's leave that aside. Let's go to what's been hitting our screen day in, day out. Culture. Our culture as a country. Our culture as Kenya. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I see people claiming that they have swag. Do you really know what swag really means? Do you know the history behind swag? Well, let me inform you. Swag is an acronym that was used by US gays, the gays from America, and meant secretly are gays. And you still find that our Kenyan youths are still claiming that they have swag. That is moral deprivation. These people lead us into moral, and they make us live our norms as Kenyans. Ladies and gentlemen, before deciding on this motion, you should think twice. Thank you.
Closer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
What is an immigrant? An immigrant is a person who comes to live permanently in a foreign country. An unverified immigrant is a person dwelling in a country illegally with no credentials. Immigrants have helped countries like USA to become what it is today. As long as we can remember, there is no information that confirms that immigrants are terrorists. In the past decade, 72% of attacks on nations have been carried out by legal residents and not illegal immigrants. According to Obama's speech pertaining to immigration, he attributed USA's success to contribution by the immigrants in economic and social development. By greatly focusing on the negative effects of immigrants, we are failing to see the merits which they bring and focusing on the demerits. Immigrants are attracted to a country due to its political, economic, and social stability. Why then will we expect them to undermine these positive attributes? I, Lydia Stella, along with my colleagues, strongly oppose the motion, and verified immigrants are the biggest threat to security. Cyber hacking is one of the threats that legal citizens pose to our country's security. Reports that hackers steal almost a quarter of the total amount of profits made by banks in Kenya is a huge threat to the economic security. Legal citizens are the ones mostly involved in these cyber crimes. A report highlighting the prevalence of cybercrimes in Kenya shows the crime grew by 14% in 2016, costing the country 17.5 billion compared to 15 billion in 2015. This amount is certainly startling compared to the 81.2 billion that is earned by all the 42 banks. A report by business advisory firm Deloitte shows that collusion may be the biggest problem in Kenya, where information leaks from legal citizens who are hackers. As a country, we should be worried that our risk profile is ranked 69 out of 127 countries, having dropped from position 45 in 2015 in the Global Threats Index. Legal citizens of countries are seen to be the majority, carrying out terrorist attacks on the people, killing several civilians. On February 7, 2017, at least 20 people were killed in a bomb blast outside the Supreme Court in the center of Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. The police did investigations, and it was found out that the person responsible was a suicide bomber who was a legal citizen of Afghanistan. On January 10, 2017, Taliban bombers killed more than 30 people and wounded 70 in a crowded area during the afternoon rush hour. The Islamist militant Taliban were fighting to oust the foreign forces and bring down the government, which is US-backed. The Taliban are registered citizens of Afghanistan. Kenya Power, a parastatal, despite connecting about 11,330 people with electricity, Kenya Power, despite connecting about 11,330 people with electricity, a cartel is still connecting people behind their backs. The officials say that the company was losing close to 27 million shillings monthly. The people were found out to be Kenyan citizens after investigations were carried out by the police. With all this evidence, don't you think we have bigger threats to tackle? Why would someone escape from their country, escaping poverty, discrimination, corruption, to come to a country and cause hell in that country? Isn't peace what they are looking for? Thank you.
Proposition, you have 3 minutes to make your rebuttal.
I'm not surprised. Well, how about a round of applause? Let's give it to our opposers. They are telling us that most of the citizens are actually a terrorist who actually attack their native country. Now let me tell you, our first proposer actually talked about societal security, which means that they get affected by these unverified immigrants who actually impose such kind of moral attitudes to them. And what do? Since they are not employed, this is the best thing that they can do. This is the quickest way, they can get money. So please, let us not talk about other issues and think about the unverified immigrants being the biggest problem to our security. To talk about the recent issues that are actually happening, John Donald Trump. This is a man, when we hear his name, our hearts are filled with rage. We think about negative attitudes. He's actually building a wall that is going to control the immigrants from Mexico to USA, the United States, that is. But what does the president of Mexico think about this? We don't believe in building walls, but we believe in unity. We believe in dialogue. This is what we see. But Donald Trump goes on by saying, you will pay for every single cent that we used to rebuild that wall. See? Don't you see that this is bringing political instability in that country? The Mexicans are actually securing jobs. They're supposed to be the citizens of the United States. Don't you see they will engage in social vices? First, our health is what we always think about. But do we really know what health is? The unverified immigrants are being a threat to your sister, your brother, your mother who is pregnant, your auntie. How are they being a threat to our health? They come to our country unscreened. Their diseases are not checked. They're not injected. And what do? They spread the diseases to us. Yes, we don't know the origin of the disease, but we know who spread the disease into our country. This is a threat to our security because we will have to use resources which are scarce that were budgeted for the citizens in our country to treat other diseases that were spread by an unverified immigrant. This is why we have scarcity of resources in our own constituencies, in our own countries. Let's think about this. Food for thought. Thank you.
Proposers will hear your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes.
I believe that unverified immigrants do not pose a threat to the security today. Furthermore, they cannot be the biggest threat considering questions such as the Russian expansionism. These people are expanding. Why are we considering immigrants as a threat, yet they have not shown any signs of being a threat? According to statistics, 72% of terrorist attacks made in certain nations since September 2001 have been attributed to the citizens in the certain countries and not the immigrants. She spoke of Donald Trump being against immigrants. Donald Trump's speech on 31st of August in 2016 was mainly based on a stereotype. Because when you look against what he said and you put it against the statistics, it is clearly evident that the threat is not from outside, but rather homegrown. Why then are we blaming people who have no intention to undermine the peace and security in a certain country for the problems that we ourselves cause? Why is it that we are saying that the immigrants are the biggest threat, yet they pose no threat at all? These people have come to seek solace. Why are we not giving them the solace that they deserve? They are not animals, these are human beings, and human beings deserve to be treated equally. We cannot be calling ourselves a democratic nation, and at the same time, we are undermining the human rights of other people just by the fact that they do not have credentials. Why then don't we just give them the permission to seek credentials? This question on whether unverified immigrants are the biggest threat to security is mainly based on stereotypes. How many times have we heard that Syrian people are the ones causing the threat? But when we go and look at the names and the nationalities of the people who are actually carrying out these acts of crime, they're actually the citizens who are dwelling in the country, who are legally there. They're supposed to be there. 58% of them being citizens. According to analysts, immigration, an illegal immigration is not a threat to the security of any nation, but rather other nations expanding their boundaries and causing discomfort to other nations, as this will culminate in conflict in other nations. Therefore, I do not believe that unverified immigrants are the biggest threat to security.
Thank you very much to the audience. Omar posed questions to both the proposition and the opposition. The proposers were asked that they talked about the economic security of a country being threatened by immigrants who take jobs that could have gone to the locals. But what if the locals are not enterprising? And the opposition have been asked, are they sure that they can verify the sources of the information and some of the data that they've given? We'll have them respond now. Proposal number 3, you have 3 minutes.
To answer the question posed by the audience, the first proposer talked about 17.3% of Kenyans are employed. And this means that if we have the immigrants, unverified immigrants coming to our country, actually will not have that opportunity of creating more jobs, since they will instill fear on the country and the citizens at large. We all know that you cannot dance to the band of music you have not hired. To the opposers, where were you during the struggle for independence? You come to our country to instill fear. This means that when you have these unverified immigrants, they're going to cause public security, in that citizens and the country at large, they are going to live in fear. Do you want to be a slave in your own country? Do you want to be a slave in your own house? Even you cannot work, you cannot look for a job. The students cannot access schools because of unverified immigrants being a threat to our country. In 2015, we had 5,000 illegal weapons seized in Mombasa at the port, where the weapons, the report says that the weapons were illegal. And as we know, one gun can kill approximately 30 people. What of 5,000? Think about it. We go to our education. These unverified immigrants are being a threat to our education security. Talk of 2016, where we had the attack in Garissa, and 142 students were killed and 6 staffs were killed, giving us a total of 148 people being killed by unverified immigrants. Up to now, I'm speaking, some of the students, they cannot go back to school because of that fear. They have fear that, again, these unverified immigrants, they'll come back to attack them. Do you want us to lack teachers, doctors? We need professors that our country can develop. What else do you want? To be in your house all day? People, ladies and gentlemen, think about it. We cannot be limited. We have freedom of movement. Now, if we have an unverified immigrants, actually they are still in fear in the country and the citizen. What else do you want? For the opposers, think twice before posing the motion, because we cannot have a life that is limited.
Precious Blood, you have 3 minutes to respond to the audience.
Greetings to all of you, and I will start by answering the question asked by my fellow brother over there. He asked if the sources that we used were really considerable. And I'll tell you that the cyber hackers, we got it from an adversary business firm called Deloitte. The issue concerning the cartels supplying illegal electricity, it was released by the CEO, Dr. Ben Chumo of KPLC, and he addressed it publicly. I hope I'm clear. So further on, I tend to hear a lot that the human brain psychologically tends to judge without considering facts that already exist. I'll tell you an example. 35 Russian agents interfered with the US elections on June 14, 2016. And CNN had reported this. And what did the president do? The ex-president, Barack Obama, had expelled them and given them 72 hours to leave the country. Furthermore, it was discovered that these were legal immigrants. They were not unverified. They had gone the whole process. So please, do we still need to blame the unverified immigrants for threats? I don't think so. The new American think tank said that all people who carried out fatal attacks inspired by Islamist militants in the United States since September 11, 2001, the attacks had been done by the US citizens and legal citizens, and none, my dear brothers and sisters, listen to this, none of them came from any Islamic states or were family of immigrants. I'll further go ahead and tell you, I admire Barack Obama, and in one of his very, very, very truthful speeches, he said he attributed the prowess of America in Olympics to the racial and ethnical diversity. I'll give you an example of this. Last year, when the Olympics was going on in Rio, Brazil, the US was able to get 46 gold medals. And out of these, most of it belonged to Black Americans. Who are these? My dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, who are these? They are products of immigrants. Well, my fellow proposers asked us, where were we during colonization? Obvious, we were not born. But in real sense, we have history. I mean, we have basic history. During that time, that was not migration. What was taking place, my dear brothers and sisters, is transatlantic trade, which consisted of moving slaves to America. These same slaves, whom I respect up to now, and I'll mention names. Martin Luther King. I respect him up to now. He is the reason we have democracy. And if we do not consider such people and we judge them out of our own personal gains, trust me, we won't have what we have now. So think twice, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
We'll hear closing submissions now. Olympic, you have 1 minute.
Of course, we know you are not born. But if you want to handle a problem that is affecting us now, we start from the root. We don't start from the head. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know how most of the men in this era are being married? The first time your girlfriend visits you, she forgets her skirt. The second time she comes, she forgets the suitcase. The third time, I promise you that she will forget herself in your house. That is the same thing we are trying to relate with this immigration issue. When that wife gets married to you, she's an unverified wife. That is the same thing with immigrants. Ladies and gentlemen, when I talk of this motion, think of that wife. Now she's in your house. If you were changing in your sitting room, you will have to get a bedroom. Is that not true? If you are eating 2 mandazis each morning, you will have to increase the number to 4. That is the same insecurity that these immigrants are bringing in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, think twice before you decide, just as the proposer said. Thank
you. Opposition, you have 1 minute as well.
I would like to start by saying marriage is not an unverified covenant. It's something that we should respect, ladies and gentlemen. It's something that is legal. And I'll further say that we can't keep on blaming foreigners for our own wrongdoings. Why are we undermining Why are we determining the future that we don't know? We don't know what it holds. Maybe you're closing opportunities for someone. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you these words of wisdom. Security relies on the rise and fall of security in any other state or any other country basically depends on the ability of the state to deter that same attack. Thank you.
To Olympic High School. To begin with, I just had a feeling that you did not quite understand the motion. And because you did not understand the motion properly, you ended up making some statements which were quite dangerous and could easily be challenged. And I'm happy that at one point they were challenged, those arguments. The question is, are illegal immigrants responsible? What percentage of illegal immigrants, do we have in the country or in those countries we are talking about? What attacks or what insecurities have they perpetrated in those countries for us to blame them? You see, those things are not forthcoming. And you had a lot of information that you could have used. The Westgate attack, it is alleged that the immigrants are the ones who are responsible. You talk about Garissa University attack. I'm happy that Zawadi brought it up, but he brought it up quite late towards the end of the presentation. Those are the things that you could have started with. We talk about Mpeketoni attacks. There have been a lot of information. If you just do a basic study in this country, you'll realize that a lot of the Al-Shabaab attacks we've been having, it has been alleged that the immigrants have been responsible. But you see, those things were not forthcoming from your team. You made mention of Isili, and you said that there is a big percentage of illegal immigrants in that place. And somebody can easily challenge you. Question number one, do you have proof to that effect? Ogembo, fair rebuttal, but it was weak. So I want you to be politically correct whenever you are debating.
I would start with Precious Blood. Lydia, I liked your mastery of the content. But I felt there was a lot of reading rather than actual presentation. Effie, great use of voice, a lot of confidence, but almost no gestures. So you just stood and you're talking. Sumaya, I must agree you're an eloquent speaker. And actually, you took charge of the stage. You pushed your points well, and you could understand actually the point of argument. But all in all, I think Precious Blood, you did a wonderful research, and we could understand that you are talking from the point of know-how.
Time now for the results. I'll start with Olympic High School. You garnered 60%. Please give them a round of applause. Precious Blood High School, you garnered 72%, making you the winners of this debate.
Congratulations to the teams on stage, and we'd also thank you, our members of the audience, for being active, asking questions, and also urge you, our viewers back home, join the conversation on social media at Great Debaters EA on Twitter and all our other social media platforms. I am Austin Nyambok.
I am Mariam Bishar. Thank you for watching.